The next problem owner is actually an aviation industry leader that is working towards sustainable air travel. So currently, before each flight takeoff, the amount of fuel is calculated using parameters such as total weight, center of gravity, and flight path. However, according to published data, for a 10-hour flight, every 1 kilogram of inaccurate weight can mean an extra 350 grams of fuel burn, which very much affects fuel economy optimization. So the problem statement here really is, how might we quickly, accurately, and non-intrusively, now quickly, accurately, and non-intrusively obtain the passenger and hand luggage weight just before flight departure. So ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, problem solvers, look forward to this as well. We are going to leave the problem owners to introduce themselves as well. Maybe invite the problem owner online, please. Thank you.
Hello. Yes. Hi, Ching Hong. As rightly pointed out, we are anonymous, not for the wrong reason, but for the right reason. We are posting a challenge which is out of our company called competency, and it's a bit sensitive here, and we do not want to elicit some sort of unnecessary response from our competitors. That is the main reason. So as you rightly pointed out, let me share my slide first. So as you rightly pointed out, before every flight takes off, it's essential for a certain document called the load sheet to be filled up and approved by the authority. If not, the aircraft is considered not airworthy. Airworthy meaning the aircraft itself is worthy of flight. If not, for the sake of safety, it's not allowed to be taken off. So currently in the industry practice, every passenger itself has been given an estimated weight of approximately 75 to 84 kilograms in calculation of their weight for this load sheet. So the thing is, this inaccuracy in passenger weight data has required us to create some sort of safety of margin for fuel requirements in order for the flight to fly safely to their destination. However, this safety margin itself has resulted in a lot of conservative fuel policy in many airlines, resulting in over fuel padding and therefore overconsumption of fuel. As you rightly point out, for every 10-hour flight, every 1 kg of extra fuel carried means 350 grams of fuel burn. Every 1 kg of extra fuel means extra 3.16 kg of carbon dioxide emission. So for the sake of sustainability, we were thinking, and in fact, maybe thinking outrageously that maybe if we can acquire passenger weight data before every flight, we can do a part for the planet's climate. So what are we looking for? We're actually looking for a prototype that can quickly, accurately, and non-intrusively obtain the weight of the passenger and their associated hand baggages before every flight departure. However, there are certain constraints to this, because when an aircraft is turning around meaning it stops at the departure gate, goes through fuel uplift, water uplift, catering, etc., everything. There's a amount of time whereby we need to acquire this data before the fuel truck itself finish uplifting the fuel to the aircraft. So there will be a balance between speed and accuracy of passenger weight. So this is a challenge we are posing to the problem solvers. We want something which is non-intrusive. Why non-intrusive? Because we want to have the willingness from the passenger themselves to have their weight acquired. We want the weight data to be accurate because, as dictated by National Aviation Authority rules, accuracy of weight needs to be at 0.1 kilogram accuracy. We want it to be quick and seamless, so that we don't want it to be a deterrence to passenger when they weigh themselves. And of course, it needs to be secure because weight data itself is privacy data. So what's in it for you? So we are now looking at a notional sum of $50,000 prize money for the winner. Of course, should you come up with a very innovative solution and we have the opportunity to work together, this prize money will be definitely more. So, and if it's successful and it hits the requirement of non-intrusive, we are able to quickly and accurately gather the weight data in a seamless manner. There's opportunity for you to work with us to deploy this solution in global airport operations. So what is the evaluation criteria? So this is just a cookie cutter template taken from the IMDA website. So what is the solution fit? Basically non-intrusive, seamless experience for the passenger in an airport, accurate and quick acquisition of data. How fast can we go to market with this solution? Is the solution really innovative? What is the associated cost with it? And of course, with this kind of difficult problems, we expect people, members with strong scientific and technical background in sensors. So that is all from us.
Thank you very much, Tajin. Thank you for sharing. And of course, may I just point out to all our problem solvers that they carry the most amount of prize money for today's challenges. As I rightfully pointed out, the rest are 30,000. They are on 50,000 right now. So remember to fire out your questions over here. I think it typically takes a little bit of time for the questions to come in. So perhaps I would like to pose the first question from my point of view, if you don't mind. So I think there's a couple of performance requirements that are very clearly stated out, which is accuracy, automated speed and reliability, and the other one is non-intrusive and secure. May I just understand from your point of view as from aviation industry, which of these are actually the most difficult and why? For example, maybe on intrusive, like we can't get them to weigh themselves like they weigh baggages and things like that. Do you have a certain factor we should consider to be the most difficult?
Acquiring passenger weight is the most difficult because of the negative press associated. There's a stigma with airlines themselves that weighing passenger will provide a negative image for them. So that is a problem. That's why we require a non-intrusiveness. The function may be the same, but putting a weighing scale versus something that is different in acquiring weight data will totally promote a different kind of image for the airline.
Definitely. Thank you very much for sharing that as well. I think on the questions coming from the participants, the first question would probably be already answered, which is like why the hand luggage and passengers, why can't they be weighed at the same time? I guess it's also because of the negative press. Am I right to say that, Tajin?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I think we have the first question answered. And the second question coming from Garisan is that our understanding is that the data needs to be given to pilot 1 hour before departure. Can it be reduced to 30 minutes provided it does not delay takeoff? You have already mentioned that it must be non-intrusive. So can it be reduced to 30 minutes?
Yes, because the fuel uplift operation to the aircraft itself takes around 40 plus minutes to an hour, depending on the length of the flight. So in the midst of uplifting the fuel to the aircraft, the passenger weight data can be collected in parallel. We did some in-house simulation based on certain hypotheses. We were expecting to impact the flight itself, impacting, meaning we were expecting to reduce the fuel consumption for a particular trip itself by 0.5%. In other words, you can have the fuel truck uplifting the fuel towards the 99 percentile, with the remaining 1 percentile with the fuel truck waiting, with the pilot taking the decision, of course, with the available data from the weighing sensor, telling him should he take the decision to uplift the additional 1% or the additional 0.5% or not.
Right.
So
Thank
I'm
you
not
very
sure
much.
that answered the question. It's not really a yes or no question. It depends on the
Perhaps I can
operation.
add on to Dajin's answer as well. We are less concerned about the process, let's say, improvement at this point than the technology itself. Like in the problem statement stated, if you're looking for non-intrusive and passenger accurate passenger measurement technology for accuracy. We want to keep the focus more on the technology itself than on the process. So like DJ said, at the moment we are less concerned about how long or less it would take. So the answer is a yes or a no, but we're more interested in how can this be done.
Definitely. Thank you very much for filling in, Zaida. Thank you very much. I think that does speak volume as well on the priorities that we have over here as well. So Edmund, on the other hand, is asking that do you have an ideal footprint? For example, like 80 by 80 cm or...
Whatever it takes to cover the entirety of the passenger itself together with his hand carry luggage.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very
So
much.
And the
I'm
keyword
not
is
going to give a direct solution because I don't want to constrain the means of data acquisition. It may be a scale which is calibrated, or it can be some other forms of weight means to acquire weight data.
Right. Thank you very much,
and
Tajin. Sorry, Zahida, were you
I
about
would
to add something as well?
right. I would like to add on that we're looking for inconspicuous means. So while we're looking for the data, which is the accurate passenger weight, whether it's whatever is the size of the apparatus is not important. However, if you're talking apparatus itself, it needs to be inconspicuous to the point that Dajin mentioned earlier, not affecting the passengers' inhibitions in wanting to weigh themselves.
Right. Thank you very much. So there's another question. When you say non-intrusive, does it mean that passengers should not know that their weight is being measured? Wow, there's a fine line here. What do you say?
I think that,
Yeah,
may I go first, DJ?
yeah. Go ahead, Zaida.
So non-intrusive does not mean non-informed. We're all governed by PDPA and GDPR Act. I think I see a question around it as well. We will always have to declare to passengers that we're collecting this data, and this is a no, let's say, non-negotiable. However, non-conspicuous means that something that is not impacting where, for example, if I'm going to measure myself today at the check-in gate, I would not want my next passenger, the co-passenger, to look into the data that I am being measured for. That's what I mean by non-conspicuous. And today you look at stuff in Changi Airport, right? And through the pandemic, we've all seen evolutions where thermal heat imaging camera or a technology where you just walk through can sense your heat map, right? And that's non-intrusive. You're not standing there, you're not waiting for data to be captured so that the next person or someone else can see that data. And that's what I mean by non-conspicuous.
Thank you very much. I think that was very
Yeah.
clear.
And if I may chip in, right? So I think the most obvious solution when I think of this problem, is a weighing scale. But as what my team members have described earlier, we are looking at something possibly beyond that. Could be, wireless signal that sends the dimension of the human body, just to throw some ideas here, right? And then maybe coupled with some smart algorithm that can determine the weight, for instance. So, we are looking at some non-traditional uh, ways of solving this problem. That's what
Thank
we're
you.
looking for.
Thank you very much, Joseph. And I think that would then solve certain issues about that part about like my weight being known by another passenger and things like that, right? So there's another question that's by another anonymous attendee, which is, does the passenger have to actually give consent if the airline is actually, taking the weight of the passenger? Is that a definite yes or no?
Yes, the
Yes.
answer yes, and I thought I
Okay.
Yes.
just covered one second ago. We always have to declare that we are collecting the data according to Singapore PDP Act as well as GDPR Act, because now we're talking about aviation, and takeoff and landings are guided by the region that they take off and land on. So yeah, the short answer is we will always have to declare.
Thank you very much. And there's another question by Bernard, which is there a range of weight to cover, maximum and minimum?
I'll try to answer this from the point of statistics. So right now, if you look at the normal distribution curve of the world population weight, and we look at three standard deviation. By three standard deviation, it covers 99.7% of the world population. We are talking about an average of around 84 kg plus minus 45 kg. So 84 plus minus 45. So you do the addition and subtraction.
Thank you very much for that, Tajun. And the other question comes from a rather innovative perspective as well. Have the full aircraft wing solution been tried before?
Yes, yes. There has actually been an attempt to install certain weighing sensor at the nose landing gear of the airplane. However, it is not accurate. Reasons being to actually accurately acquire the weight of airplane in our industry, the traditional practice is to weigh in an enclosed environment. Meaning, if you do it on the apron, on the tarmac, in the normal airport environment, it's always subjected to weather condition, which will shift the accuracy. So it's better for us to acquire the weight of the passenger before boarding
Sure.
and during fuel uplift. Hence the challenge, hence the operational constraints that we need to overcome.
Thank you very much, Tajun. I think I got that. And I think it's rather clear to the problem solver as well. Now, just one last question before we move on. I believe we do have a couple more questions, but they might be better reserved for the forum as well as the communication via the platform on Open Innovation Platform. Last but not least, there's a attendee who's asking, like, how about the IP? Does it belong to the people who come up with the solutions, or does it belong to your company?
I was just typing the answer for the IP question, in fact, but the answer is going too fast. I mean, I would like to clarify that the IP will always belong to the problem owner. However, there's some considerations where we have had successes in the past between determination of foreground and background IP. So, without going into the technicalities of how that would work, the simple answer is that the problem statement owns the IP around the overall solution, but the technology supplier or the submitter who will come up with this MVC that can work with us, there could be a classification between foreground and background that could be determined.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that leaves certain room for discussion as well. And sorry, Tajun, were you about the few?
I see a question asking you don't need individual passenger weight. You just need the total weight. You need individual passenger weight because just as I mentioned just now, there's conservative fuel policy practice among the airline due to margin of safety, and this margin of safety is due to passenger weight inaccuracy and passenger distribution inaccuracy. What do you mean by distribution? That means where the passengers are seated. We cannot control how where the passenger choose their seat. We are not going to do that, but we want to collect their data, their weight, and at which position at their sitting at which position they are sitting. We are talking about weight and balance. So it's about the weight and the distance from a reference center of gravity point on the aircraft. Therefore, it's not just about total passenger weight, it's about individual weight and their individual distribution on the aircraft.
Right.
How we're going to use the data to compute it is up to us.
So the position of the passenger is important as well. The
it
identity
matters.
type. It matters. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that's very clear. So since we're answering one more question, maybe we have one last one for Edmund, which is how do we interface to your back end?
Yeah, I'll be honest with that. Currently, we don't really have a back end per se that's ready for this. But I guess, like we stressed and emphasized earlier, the challenge is still on data acquisition, right? Once we have the data acquired, it shouldn't be a problem on what protocol we use to transmit this data to any server or any hosting cloud in the back end.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Yeah, it does sound like pretty straightforward data, I guess. So, yep, definitely. Thank you very much, all the three, and to Zahida, Tajin, and Joseph. So before we move on to another speaker, I just wanted to invite the three of you, if you would like to add anything else to emphasize on the challenge itself. Anything else you would like to add in specificity or to emphasize? Yeah.
So last comment. Go ahead, DJ. Go first.
Yeah. Thanks, Zaida. I understand that this is not a traditional problem which can be solved by software automation. We are talking about Internet of Things. In fact, advanced Internet of Things which helps in data acquisition. We have really been blessed with a lot of data sets in our own data platform. Now it's about enriching our own data platform with these advanced sensors. So it's going to be a challenge. but it will be an interesting problem to work on. Thanks.
Definitely. And Zahida?
If I may add to DJ's point, so the reason you mentioned at the very beginning that our prize money is a little bit higher than average, and there's a
that's right.
reason for that, because like we've answered in the previous Q&A, we're less focused on the process or the improvisations or the applicability, whether you can use it for ground control systems or logistics or whatever. All those things are less relevant at this point. What we're looking for is to answer the fundamental questions of how might we obtain accurate passenger data with considering all the inhibitory conspicuous practices in place today that could optically put off a passenger. We know everyone on this forum could be sustainability conscious. We would like to do a bit, but we still would not want to make that step because it is not, let's say, sophisticated enough. So the key word being, we're looking for sophisticated technology that can provide this data. So the submitter that we would like to invite to would be, please don't use the problem statement to sift what you might want to work with us on. Please bring forth your ideas so we can have a look and classify and we can assess. However, we want an operating working model in the MVC. It was from a previous question also I'm addressing in terms of what kind of technology we're looking at. We want to shorten the runway for using this technology to apply it to a problem statement. So if you have a working model or an alternative idea that still provides the accurate passenger weight measurement, we're open to it.
Thank you very much, Zahida. Thank you very much to Tajin and Joseph as well. I'm sure the problem solvers will have a very, very good time trying to take a crack at this problem, right? Thank you very much for sharing with us. And of course, all the problem solvers continue to contribute over there. We do have certain questions which went unanswered. I believe they will be actually shared on the forum for further discussion as well. Once again, thank you to Zahida, Tajin, and Joseph. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.